everybody, Cinema Sickness here, and last night I went and saw A Good Day to Die Hard. I went into this movie expecting to like it. I had heard some pretty bad reviews, but the people who I heard bad reviews from, I don't usually take their reviews too seriously because they tend to be very opinionated. But the few people that I actually do listen to reviews from, who I tend to more agree with when it comes to reviews, they basically kind of said, not the best movie. It's not absolutely great, but it was enjoyable. And that's pretty much what I got out of this film. As far as a Die Hard film goes, pretty weak. Definitely the worst movie out of all 5 of them. And I actually liked Die Hard 4. I thought Live Free Die Hard was pretty good. Not nearly as good as the first 3, but still a solid movie. A decent 4th film. I mean, you can only do so much with the franchise. I mean, you're going to eventually run out of steam, and them bringing the franchise back. I thought they did a decent job. It wasn't a fantastic movie, but all in all, it was pretty good, especially the actual director's unrated cut. But as far as A Good Day to Die Hard, it just didn't really feel like it didn't feel like a Die Hard movie. It felt like a whole nother movie that they just stuck John McClane in. It just didn't really come off like a Die Hard movie. It was a fun action film, but just not a fun Die Hard action film. It felt very forced, and again, like I said, it really felt like a whole nother movie that they just said, let's just put the Die Hard name on it and throw Bruce Willis / John McClane into the film, and that's just how it came off. It probably could have been a pretty solid action movie had it been anything but a Die Hard film, but the fact that it is a Die Hard movie really brings it down because, again, it just wasn't up to the standards of Die Hard. It wasn't even up to the standards of Live Free Die Hard, which for some of you, I'm sure that's saying a lot because I know a lot of people really didn't care for Live Free Die Hard, but I just wasn't all that thrilled with it. But looking at it in of itself, because when I go see a movie, especially like a prequel or a sequel, I do look at it, yes, as how it holds up as a prequel or sequel, but I also look at it as how it holds up all by itself, if it's just its own movie. In of itself, I would say it was entertaining. It's an action movie. It's just a popcorn action film. Just to sit back and just take for what it is, a ridiculous, over-the-top action movie. So if you go into it looking at it like that, it is enjoyable. It didn't bore me. It kept me entertained the entire time. At first I thought the time just flew by, but this is actually a pretty short movie, so that's probably also why the time just flew by. But all in all, it was enjoyable. It was fun. I was entertained by it. I did get into it. I liked the story. It was a little bit short. It felt like they should have drug it on just a little bit more to just give you more, to give the audience more of a story. You kind of see the twist coming too. I won't spoil it for you, but there is a twist at the end, and very early into the movie, I kind of saw it coming. If you've seen a lot of action movies, you'll probably know where the story's going to go, and you could probably figure out where the twist is coming. As we got closer and closer to the twist, I went from thinking, yeah, that's probably what's going to happen, to, all right, when is it going to happen? I knew the twist was going to come eventually, and sure enough, it did. So, stereotypical, yeah, it's a twist you pretty much see coming, but like I said, as far as a popcorn action movie goes, sure, it was enjoyable, but looking at it as a Die Hard movie, as a movie within the franchise, it is certainly the weakest of all 5 movies. Just didn't really come off feeling like a Die Hard movie. John McClane, I mean, he was okay in this, but I didn't really care for him as much as I have in past movies. I mean, I love him in the first three. He's so witty and sarcastic and just a badass. Love him. He was still pretty good in Live Free Die Hard, but in this movie, all his lines felt really forced, and oh my god, they used the joke, I'm on vacation, one too many times. The first time, I laughed. The second time, I was already thinking, okay, you've used that joke too many times, and then the 3rd, 4th, and 5th time, I was getting pretty upset. I mean, just how many times does John McClane need to say, I'm on vacation? It just, okay, it was funny the first time, let it go after that. You keep dragging the joke on, it no longer becomes funny. You know, they definitely had some amusing moments with him. I'd say one of my favorite parts of John McClane is at the end when him and his son are jumping out of a building, and there's this helicopter crashing down with the bad guys in it. You see him flying through the air, and you know, the son's like, oh, flying through the air, and John McClane's giving the finger while he's flying through the air. It's not something that, you know, they don't zoom in on it, they don't make it really pronounced. If you're not paying attention, you won't even see the finger, but it's there, and I recommend looking for it, because it was pretty funny. I actually was cracking up laughing at that. I just love how he's just popping the finger, you know, flipping the bird at the bad guys as he's jumping out of the window, you know, and the helicopter's crashing down. That was pretty funny. I enjoyed that. So there were some enjoyable moments. He did have some good lines. You know, there were some good John McClane lines, but unfortunately there were too many kind of non-good John McClane lines. Too many lines that just felt very forced, not all that funny, not nearly as witty and fun as he has been in past movies. Of course, he does the yippee-ki-yay line. That also felt forced as well. It just seems like they threw it in. It just didn't seem like the line was used in a part of the movie that it really should have been used for. There's even one scene where, you know, they mention something. One of the bad guys mentioned something about you know, how he doesn't like American cowboys, and I kind of expected him to say it there, and maybe that's what they were trying to do. Maybe they were making the audience go, oh, he's gonna say the line, and then he doesn't until the end. Yeah, but at least it would have worked more there. You know, I understand maybe they're building up, again, suspense for that line, but would have worked better at that point, and not at the end when they just kind of tacked it on. You know, the story bases around John McClane and his son. His son, I can tell you this much, I guess, he's working for the CIA, but they haven't talked in a long time. They're definitely estranged. You know, John McClane wants to find him in Russia and basically get him out of trouble because they think he's in trouble, which all has to do with the whole plot of the film with this bad guy and this other bad guy. But he's not really in trouble. It's all just a whole. It's all staged because again he's working for the CIA. So John McClane goes over to Russia to find his estranged son and kind of make up with him, get him out of trouble, hopefully you know, reconcile with him basically. And that's when this shit hits the fan because he doesn't realize John McClane obviously doesn't realize what's going on. He doesn't realize his son's working for the CIA. And this whole thing's a big setup, and the escape with the one bad guy, you know, the fact that they're escaping is all planned out. This has been being planned, I think, for 3 years now, they said. He doesn't realize that, and he kind of screws things up, which creates a bigger mess than would have initially happened. Although, well, again, I'm not going to ruin the twist for you at all. There are two bad guys in the movie, which, you know, I heard a lot of people complaining about that. It worked, I thought, especially with the twist at the end. Again, even though you see it coming, I thought the twist, you know, the fact that there were two bad guys, I didn't really mind, especially since you don't even, see, I don't want to ruin the ending for you, but you don't even realize until the very end that the one guy even is a bad guy. So, you know, okay, there's two bad guys. Who cares? I mean, that's not really, with the twist, it works. It wasn't, I didn't think it was a big deal. I don't see why so many people were up in arms about that. I do understand that maybe because the bad guys weren't all that great. I'll give you that. The first bad guy, I kind of liked him though. He was actually okay. He had some funny lines. Just think he should have been more dominant. They didn't focus on him enough. Had they focused on him more, I think he would have been a better character. He would have been more funny, more enjoyable, much more of kind of a, you know, your crazy, wacky, badass bad guy. Had they focused on him more and not, you know, not focus so much on John McClane, his son, and the other guy they're helping escape. Had they, you know, again, focused on him a little bit more, just made him come out some more, you know, made some more interactions, would have been a little better. But all in all, I didn't mind him. I thought he was okay. So yes, the story, it just, you know, again, it was just a little weak for a Die Hard movie. That's what I personally felt. I thought it could have been better. Should have been a whole other story, you know, all in itself. I mean, yeah, the story was okay, but it was okay for another film. Okay for an action film just in and of itself. If this starred, you know, somebody else with his own film, had nothing to do with the Die Hard series, would have been an enjoyable movie. I'd be giving it much more praise than I'm giving it, but yeah, because it is a Die Hard movie, it just, that's where it kind of failed. It just seemed like they should have done something better. They should, you know, for a fifth Die Hard movie, they should have had a much better story, something more interesting, something more badass. John McClane should have been written better. The story just should have been, you know, more entertaining, should have been a little bit longer, just should have been a better story all around. I could go on and on talking the goods and the bads of this movie, but just that's it in a nutshell. Is that in of itself, it's okay. If you look at the movie just as an action movie, if you look at it just as its own film, don't think about the other movies that came before it. It is okay. It is enjoyable. If you're an action junkie, you're gonna get some fun out of it. You're gonna enjoy it, and you'll want to see it. But if you look at it as the fifth Die Hard movie, then you're going to see what I mean by it's a weak story. It doesn't hold up to the other four. Doesn't even come close to holding up to Live Free, Die Hard, which you think you'd be able to do a movie at least as good as that. You would really think, but it doesn't even hold up to that. So was I disappointed? Yeah, I would say disappointed, definitely. Even though I got enjoyment out of the film, even though I did enjoy it, even though I had fun with the movie, I was still disappointed that I wasn't seeing some great, badass, just some fantastic Die Hard movie with a kick-ass John McClane. That is what I wanted, and that unfortunately wasn't what I got. I just got a mediocre action film that again, was enjoyable, but just was not a Die Hard film, if you ask me. So would I recommend seeing it? Only to Die Hard action junkies. If you're a big fan of action movies, sure, go see it. Because like I said, in of itself, it's enjoyable, so you're going to get some enjoyment out of it. Plus, if you're an action junkie, then you're obviously a fan of the Die Hard series, so you're going to want to see it for that alone. But if you're not some big Die Hard fan, if you're not some big action fan, if you just you're average moviegoer, you just kind of like action, wait to give it a rent. I would recommend at least renting it and checking it out to see what you think of it, because like I said, it wasn't absolutely horrible. It's worth your $1 from Redbox or from Netflix or whatever like that. But yeah, it's nothing you need to see in the theaters, again, unless you're an action junkie. Since it is an action movie, it is a movie that I would say, if you really want to see it, sure, see it in theaters, because, explosions, loud noises, all that good stuff. It's definitely a theater-type movie. So, yes, if you're really looking forward to seeing it, you really want to check it out, again, Die Hard action fan, or you're fan of just, you're Die Hard fan, then I would say, sure, see it in the theaters, but otherwise, just wait, give it a rent, see what you think of it. I think you'll at least get some enjoyment out of it, but just, again, as a Die Hard film, it just fell kind of flat. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to see what I watch tomorrow. See ya.